Dr. D'Angelo, man. I just want to say thank you, man, for coming on. And out of everyone that I've met, we've had a couple of phone conversations and those type of things. I just want to say, man, like I'm glad you're in Nashville because you're close to me, but also I'm just grateful for our conversations because they were always what I needed to hear at that time. And I feel like it was the same for you. But I'm just really glad that Sabrina connected me and you.
Yeah, I when first of all, my pleasure. I never really know why I come into alignment with the people that I do, but I always seem to know, like at least from my own personal experience, it's like I know exactly how to receive the person, but also what version of myself to give them. It's almost like God brings people in front of me, and I know exactly why they're there sometimes, or why I'm in front of them, because it's an experience, man. It's an experience.
Right.
I appreciate it and count it as a blessing, man.
Absolutely. All right. So I'm going to hide you and we'll go into the podcast because now we're live on LinkedIn. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for being a part of this incredible podcast series. I appreciate every one of y'all for showing up for me and to getting into the chat box and commenting. Today, we just have an incredible guest, Dr. D'Angelo Richardson. Um, I'm so excited. I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Dwayne Morton, Mr. Show Up to Win himself. And I'm so excited about this next guest, Dr. D'Angelo Richardson. So I'm going to bring him up and we will start the podcast. All right, D. So, so, so what I like to do, man, is I like to just read people's bios and allow them to receive the type of man they are, but also, uh, and then we just talk about a little bit about the bio and how that uh, feels for you. Dr. D'Angelo Richardson is a transformative leader whose influence extends across the globe. Dr. Richardson seamlessly integrates his professionalism and expertise with his roles as a leader, keynote speaker, author, executive educator, and other professional roles. As a two-time award-winning international keynote speaker, founder of Different Reasons Incorporated, and a member of John Maxwell Leadership Certified Team, Dr. Richardson captivates audience with his compelling insights, strategic approaches, and his visionary outlook. Dr. Richardson's commitment extends beyond his professional realm. He is a devoted husband and father, passionate philanthropist, and humanitarian with a profound love for God, marriage, children, and education. His devotion to giving and fostering growth and development for communities is central to his life journey, using the literature of his book series to help break the barriers of life for people, families, and organizations. As leaders, professionals, and people of service, Dr. Richardson's blend of love, leadership, and legacy through the service of professional practice establishes him as a pioneering hope in every core function of life and beyond as a visionary with a heart of Christ for people worldwide. How's that land, man?
It's like fulfillment. It feels like just hearing it and knowing that that's the authentic me. It's fulfillment, and it feels like there's a it feels like something that I can give God the glory for. Like it's a testimony of who I've become versus who I used to be, or who I was trained, groomed, and programmed to be. And hear that and to know like that's actually who I am, not just some bit of jargon or something that defines or something that's used to define me for who I aspire to be. That's actually who I am on a day-to-day basis. That's who I am as a man, as a human being, who I am as a leader, as a servant. That's who I am as a friend. Like that's me. That's me. So it lands like someone like everyone's hearing who I truly am, not who they thought I was.
Right. That's amazing. I'm glad you were able to grab that introspection of yourself and realize like this is the authentic part of Dr. D'Angelo Russ or Richardson. Um, So, man, I want to just run straight to the first question, and it's the one I've asked every speaker. So, this is a question I've asked now. It'll be 28 times. For men's mental health awareness, what do you feel like we're doing correctly? What do you feel like we're missing the boat? And what do you feel like we could do better?
I believe the primary thing that we're doing right is making like a diligent to coming up with the solutions based on the problems that we all know and understand that exist within us. Because and it's just my personal opinion, and you and I talked about this a few times in the past, is we don't we don't have, or we have spaces to be vulnerable to talk about what it is that we feel, we experience. But when we do, it's there's no actionable steps forward on our behalf. It's, well, what more are we going to do about it? And I think that's a disservice to what the purpose as to why we talk about what we talk about. And the thing I believe, which is the most important thing I believe that we do wrong, or what we're doing wrong about it, is I don't believe that we allow ourselves the space and time we need with God alone to uncover the root cause of where our issues come from. Because, excuse me, we're our mental health is a combination of our cognitive reality, but also our spiritual identity. So if we don't truly understand who we are internally, it we miscommunicate we're experiencing to ourselves, but also others. So then even others don't really understand what we're going through or even how to help. And if we were able to properly articulate what it is that we're going through, would we receive the right help? So I think that one of the things that we can do better is the thing we all should want to do, which is actually get an understanding without a cost of retribution or without the condemnation of who we are. Because I mean, we're men. It's unfortunate that our titles and responsibilities and roles have more weight on the demands of society than who we are as a species. And being even more transparent, as men, we're the secondary source of all life. Like, God is the source of all of our life, and then as men, we're the secondary source. So we inherit the nature and the identity of who we all are and how we even exist, and we're not appreciated for that role. And in that we are, it's still to the detriment of more responsibility or more cost, because it's seen as our responsibility to carry things forward, which we do proudly. Because I mean, who better to carry life forward than us men? But we also need help. Like, just we're just 33% of why we all even. And I'm saying 33%, as you know, there's God, there's man, and then there's woman. So in that combination of who we are as human beings, like, any women to understand that we need rest, like serious rest sometimes. Like, I've taken an extensive amount of time away from everything and everybody just to retool myself so that I can continue to be effective for all the people that need my help, want my help, request it, or even those that don't. Like, I still want to be effective when, if I'm available to even offer someone, I have to be whole within myself. Like, I can't, like, we allow, I feel like I'm getting long winded, but I'm coming to a conclusion when I say this. We have, as men, we have a drive to be who we are. Our drive should be to set things that things can be on, not to continuously strive to work an order that's continuously shown itself to not work, which is for everyone to depend on us at the cost of even our own lives. We do it with pride and honor, but we shouldn't have to, because we shouldn't agree to sacrifice ourselves as of people who are just going to move on and not care that we did it anyway because of our duty to humanity. I just think that we should do a better job at appreciating and embracing the fact that we all play a role in how we all come together. as a group of people, a society and culture of people. Like we all individually and collectively play a role, and I think that we should be valued and appreciated for that. Because it's not easy being a man, easy being a woman either. But you know,
Man,
we deserve the
set up
same love that we demand women to get.
right. I was gonna say you unpacked a lot there, and one of the things is one of the big key points is just the quiet time. Is to be able to relax and be able to have the quiet time to be able to like reboot, recharge ourselves to go about the day. And I think that's also one of the detriments of us is also there usually comes into a crutch factor. And for me, I feel that's where the alcohol, those type of things that we're trying to fulfill a symptom. We're trying to take care of a symptom, and we're trying to fulfill it in a way that it doesn't work. It's just it's putting a band-aid on
Mm.
a catastrophic wound. And it also, one thing me and you talked about yesterday was just about spiritual warfare. Like people don't realize like we are in spiritual warfare. And if you don't realize that, and you're thinking that we're just playing with BB guns when we're not, you know, I think people don't realize what spiritual warfare is. And I know for the conversation we had yesterday, I do want to talk about spiritual warfare with men and how other men are actually able to bring other men down, and that's also part of what we got to figure out for men's mental health awareness. What's your take on that?
It's identifying, it's understanding the source of who we are. So like I and I'm so glad you brought that up, right? Because I went for a walk twice this morning and did a workout, and I was finishing a section of what's going to be my fifth book. And in all of my literature, every book that I've written thus far, it talks about how we are spirits inside of bodies. Like when we leave, like when our family members are issued a certificate of death, that is the spirit of life exiting what is tangible to us, what we can recognize. So we have to be able to acknowledge that which we don't see because it's life, and spirit is conditioned by the things that we put in front of our eyes and ears to show us the nature of either who we are or who we could be. And as men who pull other men down, because it's one of the most destructive things I believe that happens with men is the competition of war in every aspect of the word. The war of looks, the war of strength, the war of financial stability, the war of hypermasculinity, female attraction, the war of just anything. Wherever there's a compare and contrast with men, that's oftentimes and unused by other men or women. We have this experience of us attempting to reprogram who we are, which is coveting, which is evidence that we don't understand who God created us to be within ourselves. So we go into this ignorant state of mind to emulate what we believe we're supposed to be as opposed to who we are. So spiritually, we're not even in line with the source of to be within ourselves, to understand how to be, who to be, and the art of simply just being. We miss that. That's that. So the spiritual warfare side of it is not understanding who we were created to be, which is in the image and likeness of God, which should pretty much all of our beliefs, behaviors, and lifestyles. But we ignore that part because it's not an everyday reality. It's not well, it is an everyday reality, which is oftentimes not most people ignore it. But it's not the conversation that we have because it's not the conversation that's comfortable. It's not the conversation that appears to be the solution. It's not the conversation that's comfortable because it's spooky or it's scary, or in some instances, to some may say it's fake or it's demonic or satanic. Like there's all of these different taglines that we give the truth of who we actually are, and that's go wrong because get that right, it's evidence that God is not a priority to us, or at least what he expects from us, or him just being the essence of who we are. It's almost like saying he doesn't exist and we don't exist either. It's like we're just here, but that's not the truth.
Man, I love that answer. So one of the things that we talked about yesterday was the art of writing and the art of being able to get out our feelings and that type of stuff. And we were talking about hip hop also, about how that person would be, what are they writing? What are they going through to go through that? So for the 4 books you've already created, like what were you going through at that time to create those books for the gifts for others, man? But you were going through stuff too. So what was the inspiration behind those books?
Um, Heartbreak. It's actually, you know, the saying that the old, it's like the sticks and stones break my bones, but words that never hurt. So false, right? Someone said something to me that showed me just spiritual that I was, but it wasn't in a good way, because it shred me into pieces. It shred me into pieces, and it took me over a year to recover from that statement. I just recently, within the past 2 weeks, fully recovered and begged the person for it. So I would inspire the books. Like one of the things, as a matter of fact, my therapist, um, I was talking to her one day. We was just like, when I go to therapy, it's never really to vent. It's just to talk sometimes, to have like conversations, kind of like how you and I are having. Like, this is kind of like therapy with me, because it's just it's open dialogue. you know, my therapist asked me, she said, when you're gone, what do you want to be remembered for? And I didn't have to think about it. I said, I want to be remembered for my love for God, because that's the dearest thing to me. And I remember when God told me the greatest love I ever told him. I'm like, okay. And anytime God tells me anything, I believe it. I don't care how crazy it sounds. I believe it. And sure enough, my first book was titled that. And I was going through like this extreme, like me and my wife went through a real terrible fallout. It's probably the worst fallout of anybody in my life. Um, or at least that specific way, because I've had other fallouts. But, as a man, it's like, as much as I love God, but also in as much as I love my wife, which is written in that first book, I would never expect to have gone through that. But the pain of like, I didn't know where to go from there. So I sat right over there, and I was just like, God, I don't know what this is. Like, I never expected to feel or experience this way. And I prayed about it. And I got up the next morning, and vision was blurry. It's like I couldn't see anything. It was almost like I was blind, or being unblinded. And I sat down and I was praying, and he said, I want you to do something that gives me all the glory. And I'm like, what? Like, you don't need me for that. You're God. Like, what? Like, do you need? Like, what are you gonna use me for to do that? Like, as if the world doesn't know one anyway. And he said, I want you to write a book. And I said, okay. The irony of it is that I had already had artwork for the book cover, and I just put it all together. I'm like, how is this happening? So it all started to unfold and the first book together. But before the first book was done, I had book covers for other books like that I created. And I didn't even know why I was doing it. When I began to realize what the indwelling of the Holy Spirit is when God takes residence of your body, your existence, and you begin to do what he ushers you, like what he influences your body, your mind, even your words of what he wants. And then every other book came after that, and I realized I've done what Jesus says is possible, which is accessing into the kingdom that exists within. And you see all of the miracles and wonders of life, both from a spiritual and natural perspective. And I had been going through the process before this started, but I will start. Like as I'm writing to see, there's no way I could create on my own. Like I didn't make up this wisdom. I didn't make up this knowledge, this understanding. Like these are things that are like that people talk about, the experiences that they've had in the Bible, and here I am. I'm one of the people that are revered as God's chosen in the Bible in real time. Re-articulate what's in that book in my own book series. So starts with marriage, then my childhood, then my youngster days, and then the dirt of my life and my marriage and everything else to judgment, to show people, hey, this is how we're going to be examined based on these things. And I have so much more literature to write. Like I'm 5 books in, I'm still just getting started. And I've done this, or should I say God has done it to me in a very small amount of time. It don't seem impossible to people. So that heartbreak and that, like my love for God led to me being heartbroken by people that say that they love him, but don't understand him enough to know that I didn't deserve what happened to me. Just as much, the people that I may have heard in the past or did in the past, they didn't deserve that either. But we don't know that's what we're doing to people when we're in the moment of these situations, which is why we need to be more aware of what everyone is going through, because it's not easy being in this natural world, the spiritual and natural world of life. So my motivation was the heartbreak, like my true, unadulterated, undivided, uncompromised love for God. That motivated me to get through it because it's the only way it was possible.
Man, it's very powerful. It also talks about your love for God, and also when you're in love with God that often, that also brings up heartbreak because other people, and then also through us, we break other people's hearts because we're also aligning in our purpose and those type of things. And it's a very deep inspiration, and I can feel your pain throughout that whole process of what you were saying through the writing. And what are the things that I feel?
Man, Dwayne,
Oh, I thought I heard you say something. Sorry.
I was about to, but you started talking, so I'm gonna let you speak.
Oh,
I
so
said
so
I said so much. I can listen right now.
well, that's the thing that happens when you got 2 speakers going. Like, and the thing is, man, is like when we really have that love inside of us, and I believe God's within us, and it's not something that's outer, but we are a an inspiration of Him to others by our actions. And when our actions don't line up with what our love is, that's usually where the heartbreak is too. But we also have to be man enough to be able to say and have these conversations and say like, hey, I did this, or I have a conversation of I'm dealing with this. And I think that's the one thing that me and you both have in common is we're capable enough to be able to be in our shit enough to tell other people. And I feel like a lot of other people need to understand that they have that grace ability also. And I'm curious about your what your thoughts are on that.
The book series, is titled "The Legacy Experience," right? And I don't know how. I don't know. I'm just in the way I'm sitting. Sorry, but it's titled that way for a specific reason. There's a guy. He's actually not just a guy. He's actually one of my favorite all-time athletes and fighters, Mike Tyson. He did an interview and he spoke about legacy, and he was right when he said it. Like none of it means anything, but he also was wrong at the same time, because we're remembered for who we were. When we're gone, people remember us for things that are specific, that are influence for them to do or be or travel a path in life as well. So when I titled it the legacy experience, I had to like let it sit in my mind about what this means, because all of us are having a completely different you know, like, this moment. I've used this example before. Like, I'm having my own experience right now in this moment. You're having your own experience right now in this moment, and together, you and I are having a completely separate experience as a collective. But then the people that are watching their own individual experience. But even in this moment in time, we're all still having a collective experience. So when we're going through these things, it's our experience, and people like we we forget that's what it is. So we sometimes judge and we ridicule. Sometimes we laugh. Sometimes we are accountable. But if we were more understanding about what other people were going through, which the cue would be to ask questions, and not just ask questions, but ask the right questions, but also be willing to receive the answer without offense or seeking out offense, because it changes the dynamic of what that person is experiencing in the moment. So it's when the one of the, okay, a perfect example, right? I have a really really close friend, um, his wife, and we grew up together. I actually had a story told about he and I in the Exodus movie. We ran up to the top of and agreed amongst ourselves. But his wife, I was talking to his wife the other day, and she started reading my childhood autobiography, which is From Calling to Becoming. Yeah, From Calling to Becoming is my childhood autobiography. She's reading it, and she said she began to absorb it, and she said, like, can't believe you do this. Like, the way you detail how you were experiencing the moment, like, you actually went through that. I said, yeah. And even though that's what I went through, I never got an apology for it. So I lived with it for quite some time until I discovered that it was okay for me to overcome that experience within myself, because the person who was doing it, we didn't know that it was having that effect. They just saw what they saw, which is unfortunate because that was selfish. But then the way I responded to the experience, it wasn't received either. I was torn apart even more because I responded to how I was being handled. It didn't change the way that I experienced it, the way I experienced it based on who I knew myself to be in that moment. So I forgave the person, but at the same time, like, how am I supposed to look at you now? Who are you supposed to be to me based on who my ears hear or receive you to be? That doesn't change that I'm going to be like, I'm not going to stop loving you. I'm not going to stop forgiving you, but this is not the reality that I believe I'm supposed to have with who you say you are to me. What's happening? Or what happened to you that caused you to think that this is what you had to do to get the results that you were looking for? Because if I would have known that, even now as an adult, if I know that, it would make more sense. But I went for a walk yesterday, Dwayne, before we talked on the phone, and I had to realize that I got to be okay with sometimes just going on, knowing that some people may not ever understand or get it. But that also what makes it hard for me, because I might encounter somebody like that again, and will I handle them the way that they need to be handled with me that someone else made? It's we never know.
Right. So those lessons. So this is gonna be, this is just a 30-minute show, so I want to give you a chance to be able to promote. I don't want to use the word promote. Just talk about your website where you can get the books. I know people are they're blown away by you, the way you articulate everything, but also just how you are and how you authentically how you are and how you love God, and how we're able to really show that, but also show how you can go through spiritual warfare and not lose your damn self. And I think that's the key, is that as we're going through this, we don't have to lose ourselves. Um, so yeah, could you please do that, and I'll put it in the show notes and that type of stuff, my man.
Yeah. So my stories, my books, or any of my products and services, go to www.1drlegacy.com. If you scroll over through the Legacy Experience tab, you can find my books there, or you can go to www.dreasons.com. You can access it that way by cross navigating my website. And those books, they're my personal story of putting myself, for lack of better words, up on a cross that I have to, but just real life, authentic, all of my good and bad, but my experience, both spiritually and naturally, of what this is. And essentially, my books are designed to help other people feel safe enough to understand what they're going through as well. It's not easy. And as a gift, and this is something that I made a covenant with God to do this, that those who do buy my books, man, I take the profits and give back to the communities. Like I don't keep money. Like, I don't like it for some reason. I never really have, but I even when there's no profits, I take my own personal money and induce the corporation so that there's more to give back because people need help, and to be able to afford the space and time and freedom to experience and process what they have to process. But I truly believe that you all enjoy my books, stories, um, because they are the real, raw, and authentic me. There is no pretending in my writing. I laid it all out on the line, all of it, and even the writing that I still have to do. The way we might actually have to do another show because.
I was gonna say, man, we're definitely gonna have to do another show. Like this is just to spotlight men's mental health awareness, and I feel like we did, and we also shared a side of the spiritual warfare side that us men have to face, and that also causes mental health uh, issues, and so we need to be aware. I feel like that's the most important thing. So I am going to get ready to turn this live off, and we will set up another podcast, the longer one, so we can both have another one of these conversations with people, or with each other, or for others. But this is episode 28. I have two more eps, man, to go to complete this 30 for 30 series. And yeah, man, we're having the week 4 recap tonight at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, and 5 Pacific time. And I'm so proud, but I'm also like so grateful for everyone that's shown up. And so I just want to say thank you again for showing up for me, man, being a friend. And I'm looking forward to having more conversations with you. Any way I can support you, I definitely will. And so that's going to be episode 28 with Dr. D'Angelo Richardson. And I have JD Lesky tomorrow at the same time, and that'll be episode 29. So I'll see y'all tomorrow. Well, actually, I'll see y'all tonight, and then I'll see y'all tomorrow with JD. Thanks, man. Y'all have a great day.
God bless you all. Glory to God in the name of Jesus. Bless you all, and thank you for participating.